Warning: the following Creepy Friday reading contains dark subject matter that is not suitable for a younger audience. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. After years of friendship, after years of work and fun along the way, the CutieMark Crusaders finally discover their true destinies. To help ponies get their cutie marks, yet the marks on their flanks symbolize that they would forever be friends. They would never fall apart. Even after the fights they had, they would always come back to each other. Even after spending the day without each other, they would always come running back. They felt an ache, an aching pain, something in their heads that told them, whispered to them, to stay together. They did, having many good laughs and many good times, helping others, and even helping each other. But when they were apart, they felt sick. They felt that pain return, and the longer they were apart, the stronger it became. The more their legs felt weak and the more their heads felt heavy, they spent more and more time together as they knew about the pains. But at night, slumbering in their beds, the fillies would become afraid. They would whisper in their minds to each other. Scootaloo would ask for her only true family to return, the ones who were like sisters to her. Just the same for them all. They felt like sisters. Like a family. I miss you guys. I know, Scootaloo. Do you ever get that feeling? What feeling? Are you talking about the pains? You feel them too? Whenever we're apart. It just doesn't make sense, y'all. I felt them after getting our cutie marks. The pain is worse. It's bad. I'm farther away from both of you. It's really bad. Applejack gave me medication for the pain, but it's not helping. We do this every night. We'll see each other in the morning. Just go to the clubhouse right away. Good night. See you soon. But soon, Apple Bloom's pain worsened until she couldn't stay anymore. She ran through the darkness, her vision blurred and her legs in burning pain. She didn't have to look to see where she was going. She could sense Sweetie Belle's presence as she neared the Carousel Boutique. Sweetie Belle woke in a start, sitting up and knowing Apple Bloom was near. She felt her get closer and closer in every second, and the pain in her joints had become lesser. She hopped out of her bed to go to the door to greet her midnight guest. She opened the door before Apple Bloom even knocked on it, and gasped when she saw her friend. She was missing her usual bright bow. Her hair was messy and tangled. Pouring from her eyes and mouth was not tears and saliva, but red blood. Her sunset orange eyes had lost their sparkle, had reddened from the stress and pain she had endured. Her breaths were ragged and heavy. Sweetie grabbed her and took her inside, putting a white hoof around her friend. What happened? Instead of speaking out loud, Apple Bloom spoke through her mind directly to Sweetie Belle, shutting off her conversation from Scootaloo as to not disturb her in her sleep. The pain is too much. It's gotten worse. The CutieMark Crusaders spent more and more time together, sometimes just huddling together in their clubhouse to relieve themselves from the pain. But after many weeks, Applejack made Apple Bloom come with her on an apple delivery. Apple Bloom refused to go, but missed spending time with her older sister. Applejack put her in the cart, and as Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle watched their friend get farther and farther away, tears streaming down her face as she yelled for Applejack to stop. "No more whining, ya hear?" The two fillies felt an ache in their stomachs, and their legs growing weak as Apple Bloom and Applejack disappeared into the woods. They were gone for 2 days. 2 agonizing days. As hours by hours went by, the two's pain grew stronger. Word got back that Apple Bloom had gone into severe pain and had been hospitalized at wherever they had been delivering. They could hear Apple Bloom screaming for help in their minds, telling the nurse that medication would not help and that she needed to see her friends. The two fillies had grown more tired and weak and rushed through the forest, searching and searching for the place, feeling, sensing that they were getting closer to her. They discovered a small town beyond the forest. Finding the hospital and rushing inside, already their pain had gone down increasingly and their heartbeats slowed. They asked for the Apple Bloom's room, and found Applejack pacing outside the door in the clean white hallway of the hospital. Above her, the light flickered, and her face was nervous and pale. "Scootaloo? Sweetie Belle? What y'all doing here?" "Helping Apple Bloom!" Scootaloo cried, forcing the door open and rushing in with Sweetie Belle. The door shut, and a nurse looked up from her clipboard. "I'm sorry. Who are you? Friends? Family? You should have told us you were coming to visit." "Friends," they said at the same time. "Okay, well..." Apple Bloom suddenly sat up, gasping for air and coughing. Her face was covered in blood, and it only smeared when she rubbed her cheek. She was suddenly filled with energy and joy at the sight of her friends. The pain that had been bothering them all day had faded at their close proximity. "Girls!" Apple Bloom exclaimed. The nurse gasped. But how? You were unconscious! You were gonna die!" She rushed out of the room. "I'll get the doctor! Stay here!" She shut the door, and the friends were left alone together. "Apple Bloom? Are you okay?" Sweetie asked. She nodded. "It feels bad. It seems like we have to stay closer than ever now," Apple Bloom said worriedly. "Over time, it's gotten worse the farther apart we are," Sweetie said, shaking her head in confusion. She gripped onto a tissue with her magic and brought it to Apple Bloom's face, where she wiped off the blood. Apple Bloom looked down. "But we can't be together all the time." "We can't," Scootaloo added. "We won't be able to be with any pony else. If this continues to the point where we can't even be 10 feet apart." "We can't be with any pony else," Sweetie said. What if I don't want to be with any pony else? Maybe this will bring us closer together." Scootaloo and Apple Bloom looked at each other. Their desires to be together were strong, but they couldn't believe Sweetie Belle. It sounded as if she didn't want to spend time with her own sister. "But I have to become a better flyer. Rainbow is gonna help me. I can't skip that." Tears welled in Scootaloo's eyes, and every pony began to worry. "Come on, Scootaloo!" Rainbow Dash yelled encouragement. But even though she knew Scootaloo was a weak flyer, she had seemed weaker than normal. Scootaloo's body was tired. She could barely flap her wings. She was separated from her friends. Even though she loved Rainbow Dash, the pony she had looked up to for years, she felt a sudden desire to abandon her. Scootaloo did not want to be here. She felt no care for Rainbow Dash any longer. She did not want Rainbow in her life anymore. She only wanted her friends. She only wanted to fulfill her destiny. That is what the CutieMark whispered to her. That is what it told her. She hated Rainbow Dash. Scootaloo stopped flapping her wings. Bloody tears filled her eyes, as her desire to be with her friends greatened, as her separation from her friends caused her physical and emotional pain. I don't need you. You aren't helping me. I will never fly, and I accept that. Just get away from me. Skulu ran towards Sweet Apple Acres, the pain fading slowly as she sensed Apple Bloom. Apple Bloom, where's Sweetie Belle? She's with Rarity. I reckon a Sister's Day, but she's been talking to me and doesn't sound too happy to be anywhere near Rarity. Did they have a fight? No. I can hear you two! Get me out of here! Rarity is being so annoying! She won't let me be with you girls today. She doesn't understand us. She never will. The same happened with Rainbow and I. She wanted to help me, but she was just only separating us. Do you think they're trying to cause us pain? Girls, we can't just... I think they know. I hate Rarity! Skulu arrived at Sweet Apple Acres to find Apple Bloom awaiting her arrival. They hugged and Apple Bloom asked her to go to the clubhouse. Skulu nodded in agreement. She noticed blood dripping down her friend's face, and when she touched her cheek, she felt warm, sticky blood on her own face, stemming from how common this had become at this point. But now, it not only came from their faces and sometimes mouths, but now their ears and nostrils too. Apple Bloom and Skulu sat in the clubhouse, waiting for Sweetie Belle. Hurry up, Sweetie Belle! I'm almost there! Skulu looked up at Apple Bloom. I think we have to stay here for a while. When Sweetie gets back, we stock up on food, get blankets. Apple Bloom nodded. We are not leaving the clubhouse for a long while. Sweetie Belle entered. More blood than all of them combined was on her face, coat, and hooves. Sweetie Belle? Skulu asked. Her breathing was heavy, and her bright green eye glistened disturbingly rather than her usual cheerful look. Her teeth were grit angrily. Rarity isn't dead. At least I don't think so. What are you talking about? Apple Bloom asked in surprise. You hurt her? Oh, she wouldn't stop going on and on, talking and talking. Oh, sweetie, do look at this gorgeous dress. I've been wanting to punch her in the muzzle for a long time. That doesn't sound like you. Skulu scooted away from the door and Sweetie. You know what I said earlier. They know Skulu. They want us to cause as much pain as possible. They're doing this, girls. Our own families have betrayed us, tormented us. Why shouldn't we give them a taste of their own medicine? Skulu thought for a moment. It made sense in a way. Another part of her, a small, little part of her, said it didn't make sense, but it had to be true. Sweetie Belle was her friend. Apple Bloom was her friend. They cared about nothing else now. They went into Apple Bloom's home, wandering through the halls close together. Apple Bloom pointed in one room. I know there are sheets in a closet in here. You girls look in that room for other stuff we might need. She walked into the room and Sweetie and Skulu walked down the hall to the other room. But when they stepped in the room, they heard ringing in their ears and felt blood spilling out. They covered their ears, pulling them down and going back to where Apple Bloom was. Apple Bloom lay on the floor, blood flowing from her ears, her mouth, her eyes. Her expression was unfocused, and froth came from her mouth like she was some wild animal. She gulped, standing back up and looking at the girls, her eyes bloodshot and teary. Let's search together. They eventually grabbed food, blankets, and other things they may need, going into the clubhouse and locking it shut. Dropping everything on the floor, they sighed in unison. Skulu closed all the curtains, pointing out that it was already getting late. They laid out 3 blankets and slept on them for the night. Sunlight leaked through the small openings through the curtains, blinding Apple Bloom when her eyes opened. She felt like she had barely slept. She looked at the other sleeping girls and looked around the room, barely remembering where she was in the events of yesterday. She rubbed her eyes and yawned, but when she took her hooves away from her eyes, they came back, smeared with blood. But why? We're all in the same room together. This should have been happening! Applebloom looked closer at her friends, noticing they too had blood coming from every opening. They were spread out through the room. Did this mean they had to be closer than ever now? Applebloom began to panic. It felt like the walls were closing in on them. She felt claustrophobic. She needed fresh air. She took a deep breath in and unlocked the door quick, running outside and falling to the bright green grass in pain. Her ears rung and her vision blurred, but she could barely feel the two sets of hooves on her, picking her up and setting her back in the clubhouse. Her vision quickly cleared up. The blood stopped flowing out as the two young mares kept their hooves on her. "We can't leave," Sweetie coughed. "We have to stay together, and now we really can't leave each other's sides." She sat down, looking at the floor. Tears and blood mixed and fell down her face. They all sat together on the floor, looking at one another. Skulu looked around the room, and her eye caught what she was looking for. She gusted her hoof, and the two followed rather closer than normal to the stand. Sitting on top was a shiny knife. "Grabbed it when we were in the kitchen," she said, sliding her hoof across the shiny surface, looking up at them. "I have an idea. We have to stick together, right? What if we were to take a piece of us?" She slid the knife over her leg without hesitating. If she felt pain, she wasn't showing it. She sliced off a thin piece of skin, watching it bleed down her leg. "And stay together." She pressed the thin flesh to Applebloom's chest, and Applebloom held it there. Applebloom and Sweetie Belle looked at Skulu with a sudden hope and curiosity, a hunger to finally be free from the pain. Applebloom put Skulu's flesh on her back, blood dripping down and staining her light coat. She snatched a knife from Skulu's hoof and cut her leg quickly. Too quickly, and cut off a bigger chunk than she meant to. She cringed, trying to contain herself in the pain. It wasn't terrible. They'd all gotten used to it at that point, that it even hardly felt bad anymore. But cutting deep in her own leg still hurt like fire, and came a burning pain. She cut off another from another leg, this time a hind leg, carefully cutting this time, and handed the knife to Sweetie Belle, who grasped it with her light green magic. Sweetie, almost gracefully, cut off 2 chunks of her own flesh, the first from her leg, the second one. She decided to be more creative. "I like doing pretty designs. Maybe I'll just..." She dug the knife into her chest, and the others watched curiously as Sweetie cut a crudely shaped heart, meeting the cut where she started, and cried out in pain and joy as she dug out the heart, leaving a large heart-shaped bloody gash in her chest. She gasped, tears and blood pouring down her cheeks, a smile slowly spreading across her face. It's pretty hard," she choked out between heavy breaths and gasps. Her voice came out raspy and painful. She gave the heart to Applebloom, who took it hesitantly, but tried to look graceful with a fake smile. Sweetie smiled back. Skulu took the knife to cut off another part of her leg and gave to Sweetie. They all now had a piece of each other. They continued to stay in the clubhouse. Carrying around each other's flesh had seemed to work well for a day, but no longer worked after that. They sat together, huddled on the floor, twitching and sobbing from the pain. They had to be touching. Not nearby, not close, not even standing next to each other. Touching. They had their hooves pressed together. The pain was less, but it was still there. Apple Bloom felt that she endured it the most. The other girls didn't know what she had went through. She had it the worst. At this point, all of them wanted to be together. They no longer cared for their families or any pony else. The only thing that mattered was each other. The only thing that mattered was each other. That little voice that whispered to them that they only needed each other, their cutie marks, to fulfill their destinies, their dreams, their purpose. But Apple Bloom still felt something for her family, Applejack. She wanted to be happy. They could not be like this forever. They could not stay like this. It wouldn't work. Apple Bloom felt an idea forming in her head. A terrible idea. One that made her sick, but at the same time, appealed to her. She found herself eyeing the bloody knife again, and the sparkle in her eyes returned to her. Not a spark of joy where she had originally, but a different sparkle. A devious sparkle of hope. Blood stained the floor of the CutieMark Crusaders clubhouse. A knife emerging from a lifeless white corpse. A body of a young Pegasus lay nearby, her bright purple eyes dead and cold. Yes, all the CutieMark Crusaders were gathered here. All their bodies were here, but only one lived. All of them cold and empty, drained of any feeling, any life, or rational thoughts. The Earth Pony dropped the knife. Even as she stepped away from her former friends, she still felt a burning desire to be close to them. She still felt blood pouring from every opening. She still felt the pain. Her ears rung, and her vision blurred. She could barely walk from the deep cuts in her legs, but what she could see were the colts, the colors of what she recognized as the train. A loud whistle screamed in her ears, not only the scream of the train, but the screams of her friends, who were now beyond the grave, yet they still screamed in her mind, speaking to her, screaming in agony and pain, asking, why would you kill them? They now lived within her head. They were forever connected, and it would stay that way, even after death. Nothing could separate them. They had journeyed and tried so hard for so many years, working towards their goal to discover their destinies. But in the end, those destinies, their own achievements had killed them, slowly destroying them, ripped them apart while keeping them together. The walls closed in on them until one day, one snapped, unable to handle the torture further. That young mare's gaze left the track, and she looked up slowly to smile and greet the bright light of the oncoming train. As all ponies know, cutie marks are a symbol that represents you. They can mean multiple things: personality traits, life goals, destinies, talents. But how does one get a cutie mark? Normally a cutie mark is earned by doing something great, doing something that defines as you, such as an artist doing their first painting or a writer publishing their first story. Cutie marks are usually earned during ages 6 to 14, rare cases even being 18 or older. Cutie marks can be predicted more accurately depending on race, such as earth ponies working on farms, Pegasi working in the weather industries, or unicorns having a magical talent. We know they are a symbol that is unique to a pony, but we still are unsure of what a cutie mark is. There are multiple theories of how a cutie mark takes form. Some say it is just magic, but still, there is science behind magic. Magic comes directly from a cerebral cortex part of the brain, where thought is made and sent to the unicorn horn directly above. The bone in the horn is triggered and activated, sending surges of power throughout the body and often a change in emotional state. Magic can be caused by emotional state and if left untreated or strengthened may become dangerous. Anger can cause a variety of problematic situations, but unicorn magic has no true connection to CutieMark's. As stated by facts, no amount of magical power, not even alicorn, can forcibly cause a CutieMark to appear on one's flank. After many years of study on CutieMark's, I have come to an idea. Many ponies seem unable to enjoy or are capable of doing a proper task because they're not destined to. I once spoke with a bookstore keeper who was unable to do simple tasks like cooking. Another time, I met with a mare who was destined to full sit, who had trouble speaking or communicating properly with ponies her age, but one important character I met was a Pegasus, who had a storm cloud for a CutieMark, who was to work on the weather team his whole life. He told me, before he discovered his CutieMark, he had loved and gotten quite good at dancing. He did many concerts and impressed many, but the day he got his mark, he immediately lost his skill at dancing and now had a talent in something he only did once. I was curious about this and asked many other ponies about their childhoods before discovering their destiny. At first, I thought it was from a lack of courage or hope, but it turned out, or should I say turned up, with many others, saying they too loved something when they were young and then just immediately lost interest in it. I have heard of multiple ponies disliking their talents. Some cases have suicide because of the symbol on their flank. I felt that a CutieMark takes control of us. It whispered to our minds what we should do, what we have to do. We are like slaves to the marks. They wrap around a prey and destroy it like a snake. To further my study, I talked with young fillies who had not yet discovered their CutieMarks. They explained that they had talents and interests, but wondered why they still hadn't earned their mark. Yes, it is true in many cases, ponies do get a CutieMark in something they love and have always loved. They become good at something and earn that symbol to do it for the rest of their life. But even if we do enjoy our destinies, it still clings to us. Eventually, we tire out and may even lose the interest. But that mark never changes, never disappears. What we are destined to do, forced to do, is what we must do forever. A CutieMark is caused by magic, and where that magic comes from is still a mystery to this day. Many still ponder how a CutieMark will match up with a name. What I have to come to, though, is that the pony is not born with the talent, that gift. The CutieMark will discover this pony with this name and match it to its rightful owner, causing the pony to immediately have knowledge about that subject. We do not find or discover the CutieMarks, they discover us. And when they do discover us, they take hold of our mind and body, whispering to us and controlling our every move, our every thought, shifting, molding us into something we never thought we would be, something we should not be. We should be able to be free, to do what we wish, and have many talents and likings as we please. But the CutieMarks, they restrain us, keep us from our loved ones, keep us from enjoying life as it is. They are chains around our hoofs and throats. We should not be praising them. We should be figuring out how to rid our world of them, because CutieMarks do not belong. They do not love us as we love them. They almost have minds of their own, and we are unable to make our decisions. We only repeat what it has told us. We only think what it demands us to think. We only move the way they want us to move. They have the control. We do not. Twilight set down the book on the oak desk. The pink glow of her horn enwrapping the book faded and died, while the bright glow from her candle continued to illuminate the book and Twilight's concerned expression. Is that what really killed them? Apple Bloom, Sweetie Belle, Scootaloo had died mysteriously after earning their CutieMarks and had been acting very strangely. Twilight had read every book in the castle library on CutieMarks, even visited the ruins in the Everfree Forest to give her some clue on what had truly happened. This was the only book, however, that fit, and it was the only one that gave off something dark and disturbing and made shivers go down her spine. Was this true? She had never thought she had felt forced to do one thing, but her mark meant a variety of destinies and magical talent. She could do almost any spell because she was destined to. She had never felt that feeling of uncomfortableness before, but she had met ponies who had. She suddenly realized she had met many ponies who were sad in not being able to do something properly, but later they seemed fine and overly happy about the few things they could do, which, until now, hadn't seemed all that strange. Twilight looked at the ceiling of the castle and thought. She now feared her own destiny, more than anything, as she heard an unfamiliar, yet familiar, cold voice. The author is full of lies. You love what you are. But the voice was not hers. These two stories were Can't Stand to Be Apart and In CutieMark's True Meaning. They were both written by Inkheart Brony and narrated by Caloric Leader 9. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for enjoying this lovely 30-minute narration video. This is our last Creepy Friday story of 2019. And the reason why this is our last Creepy Friday story is there's actually now going to be a change happening to the series now. Whereas I used to do where I did a new story every Friday, I am now going to make this series into a yearly series, which means is that I'm no longer doing stories weekly anymore. From now on, they're going to be coming every October. 4 stories every week of the month of October. And this is just, a good change for me because I've just been doing so much on my YouTube channel recently that it's just so hard dedicating to projects. And I thought, if I can make this into a yearly series other than a weekly series, then that would, make things a lot easier for me, especially for the channel and all the projects I have coming in the future. I also want to give out a special shout out to Hellhound04, Cloud9, and Scribbler for the special SFM animation intro that was used for the intro, and I will be giving credit to all of them in the description down below. Other than that is it for Creepy Fridays of 2019. Thank you guys so much for listening. All my social media is in the description down below. And please make sure to like and comment on today's video on what you think. And also, let me know what your thoughts are on the story, because I am planning to do a lot more of these stories in the upcoming future. So, yeah, that's going to be very interesting. But anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for enjoying Creepy Fridays. I can't wait to come back next year with 4 more incredible, scary stories. And I really hope that you enjoyed them. Anyways, thank you guys for watching today's video. I love you all very much. Have an awesome day. And also, to those who are celebrating Halloween this year, happy Halloween, and we'll see you all very soon. Have an awesome day, Twilight Nation. Love you all, and don't forget to stay golden.